Today's date is July 29th.
Today's date is July 29th.
Time is 5:33.
Tuesday, time is 5:33. This is the regular board meeting for the CCU for July. Meetings for the order. Members present are Commissioner Sanchez, Commissioner Menchaca, Commissioner Dueñas, and Commissioner Pedro Martinez. My name is Francis Santos. I will call now for the approval of the minutes.
So moved.
All right, any objection? None, so moved. We have no public comments.
All right, Miguel, let's get going.
All right, Miguel, let's get
Thank you,
going.
Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Resolution 43 FY
Is
2025
relative to
approving the design contract for our
PFAS
and emerging contaminants treatment. This is a design
As the
contract.
board is aware, the
As the
USCPA
board is aware,
announced
USCPA announced final
drinking water regulations for
PFAS substances.
Those regulations come with timeframes for implementation, which are currently being reviewed,
If
but
the current administration pushes
if the current administration pushes them back, we still want to be able to move forward with having in place the design so that we can move forward with construction whenever that might be required. Currently, we have 3 years to complete the initial monitoring
and 5 years to implement solutions to reduce PFAS.
We are also designing the
systems to address Dildren, which has a shorter time frame. The local EPA has promulgated regulations which will come into effect August 1st.
This project
So
is for the
this
design of
project
centralized
is
treatment
for the
systems,
design of centralized treatment systems, which
look at our
includes
deep wells, reservoirs,
work at our deep wells,
and,
reservoirs,
newly acquired
and newly
transmission
acquired
systems,
transmission systems
provide
to
treatment for PFAS on the
provide
northern
treatment
part
for PFAS in the northern part of the island. We are seeking
an
initial design cost of $10.973 million with a 10% contingency for a total requested funding amount of about $12 million.
We anticipate the design will be
We anticipate the design will be
completed.
completed,
Construction support will be needed out
but
to
construction support will be needed out to 2029 for us to complete this project.
The engineering team began negotiations.
The engineering
with the
team
number
began
one ranked
negotiations
firm,
with the
could
number
not
one
come
ranked
to an
firm,
agreement
could
on
not come to an
reasonable
agreement
price,
on a
we
reasonable price,
moved on to the
and so
second
we
highest
moved on to the
ranked
second
firm,
highest
in terms
ranked
of
firm
qualifications
in terms of qualifications, and those
negotiations
negotiations saved us millions of dollars, and we are now seeking the
to initiate this project.
10.973 to initiate this project.
The
Um,
funds to be used
the
for this will be
Funds
a
to be
combination
used
of
for
grant
this will
funds
be a combination of grant funds and bond funds as required.
Questions, colleagues?
Just how much is
Questions, colleagues?
Just how much is EPA picking up? The grant funds?
We don't know the exact, or I don't have the exact.
We don't know the exact, or I don't have the exact amount, but you have the EPA grant funds to be used for this project?
This is the design as it stands is going to be 100% grant funded.
Perfect.
Oh,
Okay.
100%.
Okay, okay.
And question, the estimate on the design cost, is that based on some sort of notional solution, or are you looking at like a GAC solution, or is there a
So
different type
the
of
treatment
solution?
technology has
So
not been
the
finalized.
treatment technology has
There
not
is a
been finalized.
concept that was fleshed
There is a
out when we did
concept
the
that
water
was
resource
fleshed out
master plan
when we did the
update,
water resource master plan update, which establishes the
scheme
the
of
general
the centralized
scheme
treatment systems.
of
There will be
the
multiple,
centralized treatment systems. There will be multiple
and then also the
treatment
transmission
systems,
lines
and then
for
also the
number of wells
transmission
that we
lines for the
anticipate will
number of
need
wells that we
But the
anticipate will need
details of
treatment.
the technology
But the
have not been
details of
fleshed
the
out. That's part
technology
of
have
the design
not been
contract.
fleshed out. That's part of the design contract.
Any other questions, colleagues?
Any other questions, colleagues?
Call for the vote. All
We'll call for the vote. All
please
please acknowledge by saying aye for resolution 43 FY.
Do we do a motion? Do we do?
I'm sorry, I didn't do a motion.
Chairman, I move to approve resolution, GWA resolution 43 FY 2025 regarding the deep well PFAS.
Second, all right. Okay, then I'll call for the vote. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Next,
Mr. Chair, I'll
Next.
ask the CFO to.
Mr. Chair, I'll ask the CFO to present the next resolution.
5 FY 2025. This resolution asks to add Mr. Brett
Mr. Brett Riley as a
Brett
signatory
Riley
to our
as
accounts.
signatory to our accounts.
All transactions in
All
excess of
transactions in excess of
250,000 require the
250,000
signature of the general
require the
manager or
signature
his
of the general
designee.
manager or his
Brett
designee.
has been made
Brett
acting
has
GM in the
been made
past,
acting
and
GM in the
we've
past,
had to have a
we've
workaround
had to have
because
a workaround
he's
because,
not currently on
he's
this
not
as
currently on
signatory,
this,
and so
as
this will
signatory.
cure
So
that.
This will cure
This
that.
resolution will cure that.
This
And I
resolution.
think just for the record,
And I think
state
just for the record, state who are the signatories,
including now that you're adding Mr. Riley.
including
So
now that you're adding
currently,
Mr.
it would
Riley.
be myself,
So
the
currently,
CFO,
it would be myself, the CFO, the assistant CFO, Gilda
Mr.
Mathis,
Badassi, Tom Cruise,
Mr. Badassi,
and Sandra
Tom
Santos
Cruise,
is the controller.
and Sandra Santos is the controller, so we're adding Brett on that
That
list.
is a
And that is a policy of ours,
Yeah, If,
GPWA,
If-
In terms of the double,
In
the dual
terms of
signatures,
double,
yes.
the dual
their
signatures,
signature
yes.
required.
Is there a limit on any of the dual signator in terms of the amount they can authorize?
Amounts of 10,000
Amounts of 10,000 or above require two
signatures
signatures and amounts of
in
250 or
excess
above,
of
or in excess of
250,000.
250,000 requires a GM.
Okay.
What's our status of?
What's our status of
For any of
e-signature?
you, do we guys, do we
For
use
any
that?
of you, do you guys will use that?
We
So,
use e-signatures.
We use
There are some
e-signatures, there are some documents that
Requires
requires wet signature.
like-
Which
like
is
this-
the
like
check.
Like this, like,
You know, when we set up the accounts.
you know,
But,
set up
but
accounts.
checks
But
generally are.
checks generally are
wet.
manual,
Yeah.
wet.
Yeah, and we do almost all of
Alright.
our.
And we do almost all of our
payments
payments through ACH.
Good.
Need a motion.
We need a motion.
Resolution
Move
45.
to Resolution 45 FY 2025 regarding adding Brett Riley as a signatory.
Second by Mr. Piro.
Second by Mr. Pedro Martinez, I'll call for the vote. All acknowledge by please saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Next.
Mr. Chair, I'm not sure if you want us to do.
Mr. Chair, I'm not
this
sure if you want us to do this joint resolution.
I'll,
Need a motion?
Need a motion, Mr. Chairman?
Mike, you want to handle this after? or-
Mike, you want to handle this after, or?
Oh, does it matter?
Let's finish it if you didn't get back to it.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
I think he was wondering if we leave it
Yeah,
to
do you want me to leave it to
GPA or?
GPA?
Yeah, do you want me to leave it to GPA, or do you want
Yeah,
Slim's not here, so-
Slim's not here, so.
As I understand it,
Yeah.
Well, as I understand it,
ran you through it on
GPA's
the work
attorney
session, right?
ran you through it on the work session, right?
Okay.
Fine.
All right, so we'll move on to
Okay, all
47.
right, so we'll move on to 47.
Thank you.
Resolution 47.
40,
FY
Resolution 47 FY 2025 is
additional
seeking
funding through an amendment
additional
for
funding
the
through an
IDIQ
amendment for
contract
the
for
IDIQ
PMCM
contract for
services that we have
PMCM
with
services that we
Camacho
have with
Associates.
Duenas
Uh,
Camacho and
This
Associates.
specific
This
request is
specific
allow,
request is to allow
an amendment to the last task.
an amendment to the
order
last task order that was
to
issued
provide
to provide
drilling of
the
8
drilling of
exploratory wells
8
um,
exploratory wells
in the Manila area to support
in the Manila area to
the village of
support
Manila and
the village of Manila and
campus.
the medical campus.
The work
the
will be undertaken under
Work
this existing
will be undertaken under this existing IDIQ contract, and we are seeking
1.05 million
1.05 million
with a 10% contingency.
with a
of
10%
105,000,
contingency of 105,000, which would provide a total increase in the IDIQ contract amount to 1.157 million.
Source of the funding
The
is
source of the funding
ARPA
is the ARPA
provided
grants
through
that were provided
Guam
through
Economic Development Authority.
the Guam Economic Development Authority, with us as a
and
subgrantee,
we
and
anticipate that the work
we anticipate that the work would be
conducted
conducted within
timeframe
the
allotted for the use of those grants.
timeframe allotted for the use of those grants, so that we could potentially convert those exploratory wells into production wells to support Manila.
So, yeah.
Why don't you do the motion first?
Yeah, Mr. I apologize. So, motion approved GWA Resolution number 47 FY 2025 relative to increasing the amount of funding for a management contract for Duenas Camacho Associates relative to improving water service delivery.
Questions?
All right, questions?
So can legal counsel brief us in executive I believe there's some litigation that may, allegedly may affect, this.
Yes.
Right. Is that gonna be some of the things you're gonna brief us on? Okay, that's good. Okay. All right, I mean, I'm comfortable proceeding, and just that,
I made the motion approved.
I made the motion
Colleagues,
approved.
Just to be clear, right?
Okay, well, colleagues, just to be clear, like,
The Attorney
you are
General
aware
has
that
filed
the Attorney General has
another-
filed yet another,
Whatever you want to call it, against.
whatever you want to call it,
the
against
CCU
now to include
and our
the
friends
CCU
at GPWA.
and our friends at GP and GW.
Relative to this kind of money
Well,
being spent.
So this is
Relative to this kind of money
Well,
being spent.
specific, more importantly, to the hospital project, as he calls it.
Not expressing his concern
that this will benefit the people of Manila.
Make that
So I
known to
will
him that you don't
make
want
that known to him that you don't want to get the votes from Manila. Please let me know,
Gladly tell the people
and I
of
will
Manila.
gladly tell the people of
We
Manila.
don't want better water.
We don't want better
for these
water.
people, so. And we go ahead and call for the vote on this resolution.
I'm going to go ahead and call for the vote on this resolution. Go ahead.
And Miguel, what is this project's objective says that it's to include drilling of up to 8 exploratory wells, but the task orders include other tasks associated with the water system in Manila, not exclusive
No.
to the medical.
I mean,
No.
the installation of the wells and.
Installation of the
piping
wells
to the
and then
existing
connecting piping to the
transmission
existing
and distribution system will-
transmission
will
and
benefit
distribution
the
system will benefit
village. Yeah.
the
That's
village.
not part of this.
Village.
Yeah, but that's not part of this.
The design work is.
It is.
Yeah.
Well, the design work
What
is.
we're approving addresses.
What we're approving addresses areas other than just what's associated with the medical.
Let's go ahead and call for the vote
All
there,
right.
colleagues.
Let's go ahead and call for the vote then, colleagues. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Next, we have
The last resolution we have is
The
resolution.
last
48
resolution we have is resolution
FY
48 FY
and this is
2025.
seeking
And this
additional
is
funding for the
seeking
Fujita pump
additional
station
funding for the
rehabilitation and
Fujita
redundant
pump
force
station
main project.
rehabilitation and redundant force main project.
This
Um,
matter has been before the
This
commission.
matter has been before the
what
commission
we are,
before. What we
As
are,
the commission is aware,
as the
part of
commission
the
is
work for
aware,
the partial consent
part of the
decree
work for the partial
involves
consent
upgrades
decree
to,
involves
priority
upgrades
pump
to
stations of which
priority
Fujita
pump
is
stations, of which
one.
Fujita is
This
one.
project
This
has started.
project
and,
has
we have
started and
completed assessments.
we have completed
What we're
assessments.
seeking now
What
is,
we're seeking
additional
now
funding,
is
for change order number 3, to provide additional design work to rehabilitate the former Tumon pump station to, and the controls, and separate the controls from the Fujita main pump station to allow us to use both in, while we undertake repairs to the main pump station and install the redundant force main. So having this, a second operating pump station to provide redundancy and bypass capabilities, that's the objective of this project. The change order proposal for this additional work is $610,000. We do have some contingency funds left over, so the new funding amount, less that existing contingency, is about $406,000, which would bring the total contract amount to $2.647 million. We're seeking a 10% contingency on that $2.6 million of about $264,000, which would bring the total additional funding to about $670,000. And that's what we're seeking with this resolution. And this is primarily funded by US EPA funds, and with the contingency, we may use bond funds as necessary.
Need a motion, motion to approve resolution 48 FY 2025.
Second.
All right. Okay, colleagues, any other questions? All right, we'll call for the vote on this resolution. Please acknowledge by saying aye.
Aye.
That's it?
That is
We have
it.
executive sessions, you have to
Yes.
stick around, right?
Yeah.
Thank you. That's it. Candace, you ready? Okay. Cut? Okay. Jennifer, I just want to make sure you're ready.
I'm good, sir.
Okay, that's good. All right, let's get reconvene here, colleagues. Commissioner Sanchez, I want to recognize you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We've had some very positive news before we turn to GPA from GWA on the finance side. The financial statements remain strong. Can we ask Miguel to come
Sure.
join
Miguel,
us again and brief
gonna
us
take the,
on the successful sale of another set of GWA bonds?
All right.
Great job to the team.
So go ahead and report to us how well we did.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So we were able to offer the Series 2025A revenue bonds. We initially estimated a par amount of around $268 million in order to achieve a construction fund deposit of $250 million. The market conditions were a little worse than our last projections to you when we submitted the resolution. But we were, due to the significant marketing effort, able to achieve some pretty good demand for the bonds. We were 7.6 times oversubscribed, and as we have more demand than we had availability for the bonds, I think it was about 2.2 billion in orders for the 250 million in bonds. That allowed us to put some pressure on the pricing and the yields. So we were able to drive down as much as 14 basis points for certain maturities of the bonds. So ultimately, we were able to walk away with a little bit better of an interest rate than we thought we would. And that was pretty good considering the market conditions. The other thing, we had several offerers who put in for the whole deal, including several institutional investors that had not ever owned GWA paper. So we're bringing new people, new investors to the table. We're reaching out. We got a lot of one-on-one meetings, requests, and we took care of all of that in the first 3 days prior to the bond issuance. So overall, I would say that it was a successful outing. We wish the market would have been more favorable, but this leaves us an opportunity to come back and do some refinancing later. But I would like to acknowledge the CFO and her team for doing an excellent job with putting information together, and also legal counsel definitely addressed a lot of the concerns surrounding our various litigation matters. So overall, it was very well done.
John?
I noticed, Miguel had recommended and his team had recommended, doing a slightly different approach that we've done historically. So just to make sure I understand it, so no capitalized interest, which was one of the big changes Miguel recommended. And then it's interest only for 5 years, and then we start doing principal?
Correct.
Okay, all right. And it's still 30-year total maturity. All right, great job, thank you.
I guess, I just want to report back to the colleague, because I was actually there and witnessed this happening. I want to thank Miguel and Tully and, of course, Teresa for all the questions. Miguel, if you can put those questions together of all the investors that asked us all these specific questions, and we answered them, obviously, they answered them very well, given the demand that we have. So, again, on behalf of the CCU, I want to acknowledge that the team did absolute fantastic work. Our team of RBC, which is Greg Dolly, and of course Raymond James is Stephen Phil. Okay, they were with us throughout
Goes
the
around, comes around.
series. But I want them to share the questions. Okay, so we as a team understand how detailed these investors are looking at us. And I'm sure you're going to see the same for GPA when you go back out, that they're really, the market is there for these type of bonds. Thankfully, we're still triple tax exempt, right? That's still out there, and it does help. But you didn't share who was going to take the whole book.
Allstate Insurance never purchased.
Which is the largest one anyways, right?
Yeah, they placed an order for the whole book of business.
Wow.
They weren't the only ones, but they were. What was striking about them is that they had not owned
Any
GWA
previous-
paper before, and they did request a face-to-face, one-on-one meeting with us, and they peppered us with questions.
Yeah.
And based on those responses, we were hopeful that they might participate, at least purchase some, and then they came in and asked for the whole thing. So it was a good showing.
Did they get any?
Yeah,
Any?
yeah,
Okay,
they
so-
did.
Okay, and then maybe share with us just kind of like the final
Yeah,
presentation, right? 'Cause it's a
Obviously,
great
it's not on
summary.
this one.
Yeah. but
Bring
it's a
bring
great
that, bring
we will-
that sheet
we will-
up, because interested in, Chris Rogers, our friends from Barclays bought stuff.
Well, good for them.
Yeah,
They-
no,
they
I
know
was
we're a
just
good
like-
deal.
Yeah,
Right, right.
so again, it was
Yeah.
interesting to see the names that were popping up, in addition to the ones that buy both GPA and GWA bonds
And
traditionally.
getting a copy of the final presentation just gives us a great snapshot
Yep.
of where we're
Right.
at as of right now.
All right, we'll do
So,
that.
With the
Okay.
questions, it's perfect. Thank
Okay.
you. Great.
Thank you,
Good job.
Miguel.
Great
Thank you.
job.
Great job.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thanks, Tyler. Good.
Jennifer?
Okay, sir, I guess the first one is your joint resolution.
Yes, you can have our legal counsel explain that one, and we'll,
Sure, so, we did discuss this.
she needs the microphone, yeah. We'll do it after she.
So we did talk about this at the work session the week before last. This is just something that the commissioners are going to do every year. They're going to acknowledge in writing and sign off that they've read and understood the standing rules for the CCU. The standing rules are what you use to conduct your meetings and your operations and how you conduct yourselves, and there's nothing new about it. It's just the usual thing. It's just an acknowledgement that you're keeping up to date with it, which is important, especially if you ever make any changes to them. It's a good practice to make sure that you review them at least once a year and acknowledge in writing that you have done so and that you understand that they apply. And they're going to apply to everyone on the commission.
Okay,
So
Motion.
motion to approve GPA resolution number FY 2025-20 and GWA resolution number 46-FY 2025.
Second.
all right. Colleagues, any questions?
Yeah, no
This is
questions.
pretty straightforward, I think. We all know what our rules are and how we're governed. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and call for the vote then. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Next.
Okay, the next resolution, sir, is GPA resolution number FY 2025-21. This is relative to authorizing the extension of Cabras 1 and 2 PMC contract until January 31st, 2026. As mentioned, Ukudu is aiming to meet the September 30th commissioning date, and we did have a little bit of a hiccup. We're getting details to see whether they're still going to make that date. But we'd like to make sure we have fuel, and we'd like to make sure that we can run Cabras in case there are any further hiccups with Ukudu. So we are requesting for an extension of their PMC contract for 4 additional months through January 31st. This is a total of $1,426,091, which includes the fixed management fee of $1,026,091, $26,091, and a $400,000 reimbursable O&M budget. This, Temis is actually at the end of their contract come September, but we've gone through this proposal as being the best option for now, because they've actually been the PMC since, when did we say, 2003.
All right.
So to just keep them for an additional 4 months makes the most sense. And we just like to keep them on board so that we can burn whatever fuel we have left at Cabras, and then decommission the plant.
Even after Ukudu comes online, just to
Yes.
burn out the fuel.
Yes.
Motion?
Move to approve GPA resolution FY 2025-21 relative to authorizing the extension of Cabras 1 and 2 PMC contracts until January 31, 2026.
Second.
Second, Commissioner Mchako, okay. Any other questions, colleagues? All right, move to.
Mr. Chair, just a
Yeah,
quick
go
question.
ahead.
So when does Ukudu start to pay the fee for being late? Is that October 1?
October 1st. So
Okay.
they have until September 30. So
Right. And it's 250,000 a day?
240,000, I believe,
Okay,
a day.
240. Okay, so.
So what's happening? I mean, other than
So,
the rotor?
actually today they are supposed to do the balance testing on the turbine,
Okay.
to see if it's,
Okay.
good and straight and balanced. And then, They're actually advising us that they've expedited the schedule. They're hoping to bring the turbine back by next week and hopefully get it installed by mid-August, and that we could start commissioning. They've got a very aggressive schedule, obviously, to try to meet the September 30 date. We are looking at that schedule and trying to work out to see how the loading and the testing and all that's going to happen. But they are really trying to expedite it so that there is very minimal delay.
But the
if any.
part that went off island is back.
No, it's being tested today over there.
Oh, okay.
And
That's
they're
how we're
hoping to ship it by the end of the week so that it's here by next week.
So, did they confirm that that part was in fact the cause of the vibration? They tested it at their facility in the check to.
Well, I
to
think
confirm?
that what we're hearing and what we're seeing was that there may have been an expansion issue. External forces may have caused some issue with expanding the casing and allowing everything to expand with it. So there was rubbing, and that rubbing actually caused damage to the rotor and some of the components in the turbine itself. So they've fixed all the casing parts and pieces on the rotor, and the shaft was a little bent, so that they were straightening that out. So they were doing a induction heating process to allow that to happen, and now they're balancing it to make sure that we don't have any vibration or balance issues when it's spinning.
So the 250,000 a day is to sort of simulate the differential in fuel price that we are having to, that we lose because we're using Everest, basically.
And that was
Right.
originally the intention, yes.
Yeah, because I mean, I'm just curious, as oil prices go up and down, is the 250, and
It doesn't
thankfully oil is
change.
down.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't change, right? But the 250, is that enough? That's $7 million a month. Is that enough to cover a month's worth of fuel differential? I mean, that's worst case, right? That's 30 days when they're late, right?
Yeah,
Versus 1 week.
I would need to check, I don't know,
I'm
sir.
just- Maybe John and just
Yeah.
kind of look at, I'm just curious, because maybe in future stuff, we may have to, it's been a standard penalty, right, in our other contracts, but now I'm realizing, well, depending on what oil, does it cover our,
It's covered
you know,
all.
if the oil goes way up, thankfully doesn't look like it will, but you never know, right? If it goes up, does the 250 cover our differential, right? And it may be something we want to look at down the road that says, hey, it's got to be tied to our fuel cost versus a flat charge, unless it's so obviously sufficient, but at least for management, think about that in the future.
So while we're on this topic, can I ask a question regarding a resolution that we passed earlier this year, where we would call upon Ukudu to produce more energy when needed, and because of the steam turbine issue, were they still able to provide?
So we are, the issue with Ukudu is they're permitted for certain phases on their testing. So we are talking with Guam EPA to see whether they're allowed to do certain additional operations on its simple cycle mode. That's yet to be confirmed.
From EPA.
EPA,
Wow.
because of
And
the
they're
permit
concerned-
restrictions during
Right.
testing. So,
Okay.
This is their air permit, right?
yeah, so the other thing is that they think they could still meet some of the requirements for the additional testing we have to see. I think for the period, it was like 61 days of operation. They did do some operation before the incident happened. It's now a matter of whether they'll be able to start up on time and perform the others. So there might be a reduction in that if they're not able to fulfill that. So we did make an initial payment, and we stopped payments because right now there's no support.
Okay.
So we are looking at that, and I've advised them that if you're not able to perform this doesn't apply, and technically we're not paying them for anything right now, because we did have a payment plan. Yeah.
But the request to EPA is coming from
Ukudu.
KEPCO, but not us, right? Or both simultaneously?
Ukudu has to, because they're the
Right, they're the
permit holder.
producer.
Yeah.
Okay.
But we've kind of talked to them to understand our situation. So we're hoping that, and it seemed like they are willing to look into it, consider it,
Okay.
at least.
Colleagues, any other questions?
Yeah, I am just hoping that, because in our past experience, whenever we trying to push for a deadline, you know, we're talking about a bent rotor. That's a big thing, and vibration. I know they're trying to really meet their deadline, but I'm just hoping that we don't circumvent anything so that other bigger things happen, you know, by just trying to meet the deadline. So I wish I know they're threading it very thoroughly, but we don't want to push the machine and just because of and have a great repercussion. And I do hope they have a secondary plan just in case, you know, something like this don't go through.
Well, our secondary plan is to have Cabra still
Yeah,
operating.
keep going,
so
yeah.
That's why we.
And then with all the fuel all around the world going down, I'm hoping that we'll be able to get a little bit cheaper than 120,000 a barrel, you know, for if in case into the future that we need to reorder something in the fuel again. For some reason, Guam is still very, very high. But I'm confident that management will take care of that.
All right, then we call for the vote on the resolution. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next resolution is FY 2025-22 relative to the approval of the Phase 4 Renewable Energy Acquisition Award to PRU Barragata LLC, PRU Malolo LLC, PRU Polanta LLC, and PRU Timoning LLC for up to 18.4 megawatts of renewable energy capacity. As presented in the work session, this is for 4 separate sites, Barragata, one in Barragata, one in Timoning, one in Polanta, and one in Malolo. And they are sized just below 5 megawatts each with energy storage shifting for to be able to shift half of their capacity and deliver at night. These are all distribution interconnected sites, so they are not transmission level. And they're all at the 17.9 cents per kWh rate.
Need a resolution, John. Done? Jennifer?
Yeah, so motion to approve FY 2025-2022, or 22?
Second for discussion purposes,
Okay.
yeah.
All right. Go ahead, colleagues, if you have questions.
My only question.
Can I just state for the record that Mr. Andrew Park is here, one of the principals of this particular project? Thank you.
Yeah, my only question is, I think this is the first resolution that and the CCU that I've been where we've awarded multiple LLCs under the same bid, but all the LLCs are owned by one company?
And we didn't restrict that. I think we allow bidders to submit different proposals. I don't know that that's an issue. Is that an issue?
No,
Oh, okay.
I'm not bringing it up as an issue. I think it's the first time we've awarded like that, where we've had like multiple LLCs under one main bid. So, but my question is really to the review committee on award is, how do you determine past performance and financial capability for new entities?
So I wasn't part of this evaluation team, but my understanding from what I've been part of is there is a technical proposal, which is a qualification phase. And once you get past that, you're allowed to now enter into the bid process of the bid.
Even as a new company?
As a new company. So the qualification process asks certain requirements that you have to submit in your proposal, which includes a financial background, experience with certain types of contracts and construction, whatever you're actually asking for. And there's scores and there's minimum requirements in those scores that allows you to pass. So the companies that we're looking at this point would have passed that qualification stage and then be able to participate in the bid. So with the financing, with like a financial background, we usually have someone from the finance group come and look at financial statements and things like that the company presents.
I just want to add that was our controller. glad that that was our controller in this case. who
So
did that.
our controller participated in the
She's
evaluation.
part of the qualification team, at the
Yes.
financial
So
level.
she did the
On the
financial-
evaluation committee, she does the financials.
Okay.
Yeah, so I guess that's my question is, for a new entity, the assumption is it's a new entity and that they're bidding on projects that they have past performance and actually have done work that have financial statements that were reviewed? Or were the holding company's financial statements reviewed? That's my question is, how is it reviewed?
So normally, there be questions related to the scope of work, and they have to show that they've had the experience in doing certain things, whether it's obtaining financing, whether it's being able to finance it, whether it's construction, whether it's, and so depending on how they present themselves with the, usually you see technical proposals that are pretty big with lots of pamphlets and stuff that these guys have done. Depending on how they've presented themselves, they're scored against these categories. So it's not just a pass, it's did you provide X amount of years of experience? Did you provide X amount of documentation to show this or that? I don't know I wasn't part of this evaluation, so I
But
can't
for
spec-
each new entity, that's my concern is.
It's for every entity that's preparing a proposal here.
Right, but how does a new entity show that they've actually built a solar farm before?
It depends on whether they have partners. So if they have partners that have participated and they're showing that they're a partner, then they can, I guess, present that as experience as
So
partners.
the solicitation allowed for past performance from partners to be included in the new entities? Because like I've done federal bids before where typically like a subcontractor or like you have to show, the prime has to show, the entity bidding on it, right, has to show the past performance. Unless you have a teaming agreement, and I don't know what was presented. So that's
Yeah.
kind of the question is, how was the evaluation done for past performance and financial capability analysis? Because I think what we want to avoid is kind of like what happened with Hanwha, right? Where, they provided everything that was needed to get an award, and then we had an issue, right, with the performance, so.
I can't speak for this one, but we've had in the past parties that bid as a team. And so we looked at them as a team. So maybe one didn't have this type of experience, but the other did. And so that would allow them to come in as a team to qualify for the project or the proposal.
It's good to look at this a little thoroughly, because a lot of people that do have money want to just propose and take the bidding because they have money, but then they subcontract, but yet they just want to make money on top of that. So I think it's good to do a thorough background check on what we're dealing with.
Go ahead, because I have a question after you.
Okay, Chair, I'm familiar with one of the minority shareholder, without looking much deeper, the ability to raise the financing, I believe at least the minority shareholder could have that capability to access the funds. I'm concerned, like Commissioner Limtiaco, that the majority owner is the majority owner in a company that is essentially brand new. So how do we know if that brand new company has ever built a solar farm, which would be past performance?
When you say brand new, are you talking about the PRU company?
The PEC, I guess? Oh, no, the PRU, yeah. PRU is made up of, so PEC owns the majority of it, right? 51, LMS owns 49. I'm familiar with LMS, and conceptually, I can appreciate financing may be a piece of it, but as Commissioner Limtiaco intimates, it's not, does PEC, what is their background? Have they done any other solar farms? Or any other energy projects?
can't
I mean, just
speak
because my
for-
contractor
sorry.
built a solar
Yeah,
farm doesn't mean I know how to.
Yeah, good question.
I can't speak for PC, but I don't know if you want
look
to
at
ask.
Jennifer, where can we get the qualification, whatever you guys did to get us to this point? I mean, sometimes you guys attach that particular bid part of it, or whatever the award criteria was, and how you scored them. Is that something we can get a copy of, so we understand
ask,
how we arrived at that? Yeah, because I mean, for the record, I would share with the committee and GPA management, after I read through the first agreement, I was the one that raised questions to the legal counsel saying, look, please research this for us, and this is why we have this memorandum provided to the fellow commissioners. But again, I think we share the concerns. This is a brand-new entity with no track record of building a renewable project.
So I just want to point out that a lot of, not a lot, but at least some of the companies that I've worked with that we contract and their mainland or outside areas, they form new companies here with new names. And it may not be the name that we started with. So I just
So that goes back to my question, really, is just how did you evaluate it? That's my only question.
And
It
we
doesn't
can-
really mean who's involved in the contract or the owners. That's not my question, is how did the review committee evaluate past performance and financial capability? Those are my only questions, because
It
I'm
should be a thorough
assuming that
evaluation.
they approved it, so they put it for award, so they used some criteria to determine, and that's what we wanna know, is what was the criteria?
We can give you that. They should have a scoring sheet that shows exactly, and actually all the
It should
bidders
be
should
a
have gotten
thorough evaluation.
exactly what they were gonna get scored on before, as part of the bid package.
But
What
more
do you-
importantly,
Go
like,
ahead.
how did they arrive at the score? So it would be good that the controller is here to explain.
Controller could answer all these questions. I'm sorry, I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
Can someone just tell us
Yeah.
the total price of the project?
Oh, it's actually in here, sir. For each one, or?
No, doesn't matter, I mean, yeah.
So on an annual basis, at least for for one of the projects, the total revenue, sorry. This is megawatts per hour.
Chairman, may
Yes.
I interrupt? So I don't have the score for this particular bidder, but I am prepared to discuss here the initial scope of work, which had the scoring sheet, if you will
Yeah,
let
but
me.
we're specific to this one, Tracy, is exactly,
Well-
how do we arrive at the scoring
Right.
and where's the score?
So
Right,
we
'cause
will
we
provide
awarded
you
this
with
one.
the specific score,
Yeah.
but just generally,
Go ahead.
I wanted to share with you that there were 5 factors, evaluation factors. The first factor is project development, and of course, there's weighted scores and raw scores. Under project development, the evaluators would have scored the method and status of project financing, level of site control by developer, project team experience, project schedule, commercial operation date, status of equipment supply and EPC agreements, bidder concurrence to the draft purchase power agreement. The second would be the physical project characteristics, including the operating profile, point of delivery, risk that the resource will not perform as expected, project life and extension options. The third is power product characteristics, guaranteed annual megawatt hours, dispatchability, product flexibility, and contract term. The fourth is credit evaluation, and this is what Marianne was referring to with the controller, debt and equity ratings, performance assurance, financial ratio analysis, default risk, credit concentration and liquidity effect, enforceability of contractual credit terms, bidder revision to contract templates that may affect credit requirements, and the fifth is environmental permits and impacts, and that would include permits and site environmental assessment. That would be separate from of course, the price proposal evaluation.
So the first year for one of these sites would be about $1.5 million for 8,300 megawatt hours produced in that year.
So if we look times 4,
Yeah,
it's roughly $4 million if all projects were completed.
for annually, or a little more, because
Yeah,
the price
different
does a
price of
little bit,
size.
yeah.
Right. Okay. So, yeah, go ahead, Commissioner Sanchez.
Council, do we have any risk if we didn't approve this?
So the project hasn't actually been awarded yet. We've only given a notice of intent to award, so it's still at that stage.
But tonight, we're being asked by management to
Approve.
accept the award, or to ratify, to approve the award, right?
Yes, but if you have misgivings or if you need further information, and it sounds like you want further
Yeah.
information, we can supply that before you come to a decision.
And if also the bidder come from a more experienced, bigger firm and they broke off and they, they renamed themselves, I'd like to find out where they came from, also what experience they had before. Was it positive or negative? And why they broke off to do their own thing.
Yeah, I think we just need more information. We've never really questioned the review committee's award of it, but this one is just a little unusual, right? Looks like there's 4 new entities, or based on the names of the companies, right? There's obviously a partnership that owns those, but the only question is, okay, how did the review committee arrive at the award of or determination of the factors that the AGMA listed off, how that was arrived at? I think the answers to those would alleviate any questions that we all have.
Okay, yes, Commissioner, we can do that.
I mean, we could always table this and
Yeah,
allow them to
I
give
think
us
it's
the-
good to give
and
them
then just come back
something.
in to deal with it once the information's
Yeah.
available.
Colleagues, I'm leaving it up to you, so
Yeah. Is there,
I'm
what-
open to.
Make a move to.
is there a timeline for approval that would adversely impact the
Yeah,
project if we don't, I mean, I'm not saying take three years to review it, but it.
Right, I
to
think,
get more info.
I think the
Week or two.
timeline is more to do with certain tax credits and that kind of thing, and those sorts of deadlines. You could always recess your meeting
Right.
and reconvene.
And then can you please give us the timelines that we're up against giving the energy tax credits that you're talking about?
Okay, so
Right, so
the
provide that
energy
information.
tax credits, for one thing, you have to, I think you have to have a signed contract within a year of the big beautiful bill, which was July the 4th of this year. And the other is that you have to complete your project, the construction, by December 31st, 2028.
So how long would it take management to just provide the information the commission is seeking?
So I think we could have that very quickly. That's something that's available right now.
It's already asked, and so
Oh.
we should be able to share it electronically tomorrow.
I mean, I'm open to we can deal with all the other business.
Right, and then
just
recess our meeting,
so
come
that
back.
we can come back and just make sure.
I'm
we're
open to
okay.
that.
Can we go back to those questions then? The specifics that we need them to come out so that it's recorded here. So
I think
I
it's
think-
already been
yeah.
recorded. We're basically asking for
Financials.
how the review committee came up with the approval of the criteria that the AGMA read off.
Mhm. And more
the
background.
only concern is how was that done based on these new entities, right? How, and whether or not the solicitation allowed for it, right? So typically, like, the solicitations will say you consider past performance from the partners as, legitimate experience or past performance, as well as financial capability. So if that's the basis and the solicitation didn't disallow it, or it allowed for it, then that's fine. And I'm assuming we'll get the answers from the review committee.
So we're gonna be dealing with 4 different companies?
That's the way it's presented.
Same
Same owner,
ownership,
but
but
No, I
they've created
understand.
4 different companies to.
When the corporations are submit or they're, like Mike is asking, their finances and
There's
everything.
a red flag there
It's
already.
gonna be 4 different.
Well, I don't know if it's a red flag. We just need to understand, like, how the review committee evaluated it. That's the only
Yeah.
concern I think we have.
I'm not as concerned about the financial side per se, but the idea that is this proposed partner, do they have any experience in building and operating solar farms? My understanding is we do business with them, but not in the solar farm industry, right? So that we just want to make sure, understand how the team led to a recommendation to proceed with awarding to them.
My other question is on a bid bond. Is the bid bond required when we sign a contract or when PUC approves this? When is the bid bond required?
I think it's when you bid, right?
Yeah.
When we
The
what?
The performance bond is when you,
Yeah, and then it'll be converted when we
Yeah.
reach a performance bond.
Okay, and the security deposit is due when? I'm looking right at it. development security.
I believe that's after
Here
the
on
financing.
page 550 of board books.
3 or 4, 2.
Then there's four separate ones, okay?
I'll get you that answer.
Yeah, and how was that, how did we arrive at, for example, this particular number of 753,000 for Barragata and the 3 other projects? Okay?
That's probably related to the 17.9 over time,
Yeah, just,
It is, it's a
Yeah.
certain percentage, and in the contract, it says, you know, what it's based on and when it's due.
yeah,
I just can't remember the exact date.
okay.
I think when financing is complete.
No, and again, I think I asked that question, Marianne, is that the interconnection assets, okay, are gonna be owned by GPA, correct?
Yeah, yes, sir, that's correct.
But in this particular case, the project site is not owned by GPA.
That's correct, sir.
I think in most cases, we don't
Yeah,
know.
we don't
No,
own.
no, I
the-
get that, just want to be
We
clear.
don't know, we don't own
Yeah,
Manila.
On
we
the
don't
project, on
own,
the
we don't own the
interconnection side.
solar farm or the
Right.
batteries, we only
We're
own
just
the
buying energy.
interconnection.
We're just buying energy
Yes.
and providing them a way to connect to us when we buy that energy. If they fail on their side, first thing you do is you don't
So
pay them.
every site name will have
You only pay for what they give you.
interconnection to
Can we
the-
just buy it and resell?
Can you also provide the solicitation language that notifies the offers of the
Buy it to go
evaluation
into our system
criteria?
and then we provide.
But if they don't provide, you don't pay them.
Yeah.
It's a large file.
No, we don't need the whole file, we just need that area where it says,
It's like an appendix of the bid.
like, the evaluation.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's actually referred to in that appendix, so,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, so
Okay.
colleagues, let me just be clear, we'll table this particular resolution to get the information, Tracy, to us by tomorrow. Colleagues, when do you want to come back? Give me.
What's today?
Because we have to
Today's
give a certain
Tuesday.
timeline.
We need to review it
notify.
Wednesday.
Just review it.
Well, we could do that at the end of the meeting, right? We can, the notice of recess.
Yes, I'm just wondering, okay. All right, why don't we move to the next resolution?
Can I
Yeah.
just add one more thing, which is that if the solicitation doesn't contain the answers to the questions that you're looking for, we can always ask the bidder.
Yep,
Yeah, that's fine, however management gets it. But I'm with Commissioner Limtiaco. There was a basis for management to recommend approval. We're having some questions specific about that recommendation.
correct.
And,
Correct.
you know,
Yeah, I don't think we need to ask the bidder anything. What we're really determining is, we just want an explanation on the review committee, how they arrived at the intent of award.
Yes,
And that
Commissioner,
was-
and we will get that for you.
Okay. All right, next resolution.
Okay,
Jennifer.
Commissioners and Chairman, this isn't actually a new resolution, it wasn't provided during the work session. This is GPA Resolution 2025-23 relative to the creation of the Assistant Manager of Engineering for GPA position on the Guam Power Authority. The Guam Power Authority's engineering division continues to address the growing demands and increasing complexity of its engineering operations. The engineering division also continues to modernize its infrastructure in response to rising community energy demands, military buildup, and the integration of advanced technologies such as smart grid, renewable energy and storage technologies, and advanced analytic tools and renewable energy resources. The scope the scope of the engineering response has significantly expanded. GPA is proposing to create the position of Assistant Manager of Engineering. The creation of the aforementioned position offers assistant managerial oversight to provide strategic direction and enhance workflow efficiency within GPA's engineering departments. The proposed pay range and demonstration of compliance with GPA's compensation plan was authorized by Public Law 28-159 and approved by the CCU in October 2007. The proposed compensation is in accordance with the strategic pay plan methodology, and the salary proposed is a minimum of $131,106.46 per annum, or $63.03 per hour. The maximum is $136,429.91 per annum, or $65.59 per hour. This does have to go through a process, and needs to be, we need to meet the posting requirements, and the position creation can be acted on by the CCU today, and once adopted by the CCU, the creation of the assistant manager engineering positions will not be filled until 30 days have lapsed from the date of filing the petition and resolution with the legislature secretary. And this is to be funded through GPA revenue funds. So, yes, we are trying to create a new position here.
Need a motion, gentlemen.
Move to approve creation of the new position, Resolution FY 2025-23, GPA resolution.
Second, Commissioner Martinez.
Yeah, so, who's doing the work now?
So we don't have an assistant manager engineering, but we've got a lot of work coming up. We also have new engineers and engineers leaving, so we're trying to also develop succession. So we need to kind of get people doing certain jobs or being involved in those jobs so that there is a transition. We do have a lot of work, and we are also asking for PMO to support these activities. The military buildup, we've got potentially 11 renewable projects that need to be integrated. We've got other construction coming on, engineering handles, land acquisition, easements, new customers, new construction. They do reviews for Navy projects, especially that are tying into our grid. So even though we're not handling that project, we are a part of the review process. Even though we're not constructing these renewable integrated systems, we are reviewing them and making sure they're compliant, and we are inspecting it. There's just a lot of things on the table right now, and I think it's best that we have some people to share over managing.
I'd like to add a little bit more to what our acting GM had said. In addition to that, the manager of engineering currently has 5 different divisions. So a total of 44 persons. The majority of those persons are engineers. And about 16% are eligible for retirement. So we have really gone over, as far as engineering, we've gone through the hump that we had about 2 years ago, where we had a considerable number of folks ready to retire. So right now we have the manager of engineering, not the most senior person, but senior there, is eligible for retirement. Of the 5 supervisors, 1 is eligible for retirement, and then the rest eligible for retirement are in various stages of engineering. We have a lot of newer engineers. So in the last 2 years, we've hired several engineers out of UOG and other areas, and so most of those engineers are still in their Engineer 2 phase. So as we move forward, just some background about this position. This position was last filled by Ken Flores. So he was the very last assistant manager of engineering. And of course, then Ken eventually became the GM of GPA. So that I just wanted to point that out, because that shows that GPA isn't seeking to fill this position just to fill it. We have the need now. If we no longer have the need, then we will, once that's vacated, we will not fill it. But right now the need is there. In addition to what our acting GM had pointed out, there are several additional responsibilities. So in the last 10 years, we've gone through a significant change in our utility. So we've gone through from a traditional utility to a modern utility. These engineers now, in addition to what Jen had said, are also dealing with advanced grid analytics. As you know, we report, for instance, on NEM and additional solar projects. So these engineers have to figure out how it's impacting our system and what type of upgrades to make. So just alone, if we look at that, that also creates a large number of both construction and engineering projects. And so with all of this, it has become a little bit easier for things to fall through the cracks. And so with this assistant manager of engineering, we're going to address some succession issues, as well as make sure that we are as efficient as possible.
So it's not a new position?
No, historically for GPA, it is not a new position. However, when GPA went through, we created our CTP plan, this position was vacated and we did not include it in the list. And so now that we have our CTP, we have to follow the CTP positions and we have to follow our strategic pay methodology. And so the assistant manager of engineering was not included in that initial list, and now we're seeking to include it.
I'm reading that it requires a PE. How many PEs do we have?
You know, about 2 minutes ago, I was thinking someone's going to ask me that. So I think
Unfortunately, Tracy,
I'm going to
reading.
phone a friend if you don't mind, and my friend is
Yeah,
right
please,
here, the
just tell me
PSA. John
how
Ray,
many PEs do we have?
I have it. I can tell you that in a second if I don't
No,
speak for a
I
second.
mean, I can think of the ones off the top of my head, but I'm sure we have more. How many?
Okay, let's say between 14 and 20, and so we will have more PEs because we've inked a deal recently, and so we're actually getting some of the baby engineers to start studying for their PE exam.
Right. But the minimum criteria, I believe, is 5 years, right? You have
It's
to work 5 years.
7 years.
Under super, you know, you can tell me, yeah.
For the,
For
oh,
to
for
be
the
eligible
PE,
to take
oh,
a
yes,
PE.
it's about 5 years, sir.
5 years, and then under the supervision of
A PE.
Jennifer Swan. Yeah.
Maybe
not
not
That's how it
just
works.
Not
Right,
the PE,
okay.
yes.
Can I just ask, is this salary competitive?
We believe it is so. So we had Alan
So tell
Searle.
me how it's gonna match up to our friends at NAFAC. I gotta ask a question, Tracy. 'cause-
You know, to be honest,
Because I
NAFAC,
would prefer, is this unclassified, by the way?
no, this is a classified position.
And is there a reason
So-
why we need it to be classified?
well,
I've
the
always been
manager
of the opinion
position-
You give these kind of jobs to make it unclassified, make the salary as high as we can go, and try to keep these people with us.
So-
Otherwise, we're,
The manager of engineering is classified, all the supervisors are classified, so the assistant manager will be classified. As far as how it compares with NAFAC, it's very difficult for GovGuam or Guam's private sector to
give me a
compete.
ballpark by
We
just
believe
to-
it, we believe it is competitive.
Because I mean.
If no one applies, that'll be part of the
Well, you know, I
answer.
mean, we constantly hear people that, you know, we want to try to attract back into our
Well,
business and.
yeah, I
we
believe
just
this
can't.
is competitive because, you know, in the recent market update, we were able to hire engineers, entry-level engineers and some other engineers, and they came and they stayed. You know, they have a choice. So I would imagine that GPA is just such an awesome place to work that that's why people want to stay, and then, you know, salary might come second.
Actually, this provides upward mobility within engineering so that we're actually keeping the folks here and we allow them to move up. So that helps.
Kind of a related question. When was Alan Searle's last wage review? Because I think that's a way to capture the
Yeah.
chairman's concerns about how we
That was
compete.
our 2022 market study that we adopted.
And when's his next one?
When's the next
His
one?
next one is soon. I believe it's we said it's going to be every 3 to 5 years, so we're right about due. But just so you know, for this position and the salary review would be as of a couple of months ago.
Oh, from Alan.
From Alan, correct.
Okay, so these numbers are based on his latest, his updated information?
Correct.
His review?
Correct.
Okay.
And we also reviewed the job evaluation points, and those are all updated as well.
I'm willing, I'm willing.
Colleagues, I'm okay, I'm just
Yeah,
reading, like
yeah.
I said,
No,
the
it's
last.
good, it's good stuff.
they're
I'm
asking
willing to
me
go for it. Let's see what
They're
they
asking me to sign Exhibit A. Yeah.
Oh, well, as long as you're the one signing. it.
Yeah.
I
It
vote
reads
yes.
minimum experience and training. Okay. Okay. All right, colleagues, any other
Just
questions?
one
Yeah,
quick
go ahead,
question.
sorry.
But this, do you foresee this as an internal hire, or is this external?
I believe at this point we are looking at an internal job opening, so it'll have a zero effect on the number of FTEs we have.
So the FTEs will remain the same, it'll just be someone's getting a promotion somewhere?
Well, we would do it competitively, but internally.
Anything else?
Nope.
All right, colleagues, I'm gonna call for the vote then. I did have a motion, right? Okay, do the motion, please.
Chairman, I move to approve GPA Resolution FY 25-23 relative to the creation of the Assistant Manager of Engineering in GPA.
Second, Mr. Piroy, could you, all right?
Oh, then
We
this
did,
motion's
okay,
better.
Piroy did. Thank you very much. Okay, then I'm gonna call for the vote. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. We are gonna take a 5-minute recess
Executive?
and go into executive session. You have that already set, right? Okay, thank you, colleagues, and then we'll decide on our recess time. Okay, we are back now in executive session. Again, tell me when you're ready. Yes, we're ready. Okay, go ahead and exit. I'm recording and he's exiting. Yes? Okay, we're,
A neglect to consider, you know, the whole transfer of land. Your argument is that the judge erred on that, right, regarding transfer of title, and then Marcinez?
Well, our argument now is that she's erred in her interpretation.
we need clarification on the, we're gonna recess this particular meeting to August 4th. Okay, at 5:30 PM. We all okay with that? For the
That's
specific.
Monday, right? Monday
Right,
To reset, okay.
okay?
Yes.
That's next Monday, or?
Everybody okay with that?
And we
Yeah.
will be discussing, and we'll get, once the information's all out, on the resolution for GPA. Okay?
Okay.
Motion to adjourn?
Uh,
Motion to recess.
Motion to recess, Mr. Chairman, till 5:30, Monday, August 4th.
Okay, second, all right, colleagues, I'll see you
Yeah.
Monday. Thank you very
All
much.
right. Be safe.
This conference will now be recorded.